Yep, you're good.
Okay. Good evening. The Proviso Township High School's regular meeting of the Board of Education will now come to order on June 13, 2023 at 5:36 p.m. Ms. Barbahan, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander? Absent. Mrs. Hickson? Present. Mr. Ocampo?
Present.
Ms. Patterson? Absent. Ms. Grant?
Present.
Mr. Belteras? Absent. Ms. Darvin? Present. We have.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to retire to the executive session for the purposes of litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of a particular public body has been filled and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. 5 ILCS 120/2C11. B, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of public or specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the local government wage increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act, 5 ILCS 120/2C1, and the collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, 5 ILCS 120/2C2. Motion?
Motion?
Yes.
Yep, so moved.
Second. Thank you. Ms. Barbahan, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander? Absent. Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson? Absent. Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Belteras? Absent. Ms. Barbahan? Aye.
Motion carried. All right, we are now in executive session at 5:38 p.m.
No, I just do. So switch it to that. Yes. Because if you unpack it, there's another video.
We're here talking about it. You know, time to give me a hand.
Yeah, you check it. Sorry. Yeah, so this is what I do. Which one are you on?
Right.
Because for my background, I started, so that's totally where my brain was about funding for that. I just
You're not doing well? Okay. I mean, I am too.
right.
I got If I do it, it's not like.
It's everybody. You know, that was good.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can I get a motion to reconvene the regular meeting of the Proviso Township High School Board of Education?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Barbahan, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Ms. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Beltier is absent. Ms. Barbahan, aye. Motion carries.
Excellent. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Barbahan, please read the vision statement.
Through expectations of excellence and by providing equitable educational opportunities to empower each student, our graduates are prepared for college, careers, and to serve as contributing members of a dynamic global society.
Thank you. At this time, the Board of Education opens the floor for public comment. The board will receive public comment from any individuals present this evening and have submitted a request to address the board for the established procedures. We believe that all participants in the meeting desire the best outcomes for our students, families, and communities. As a reminder, this meeting is being live streamed and will also be archived and available on the district website. We do ask that all of our public speakers tonight be respectful of the 3-minute time limit. Thank you. Ms. Gordon?
First tonight is Anthony Harris.
I will be personal.
All right, how everybody doing? It's all right? Wow. Can I have all the maintenance people stand? Everybody's maintenance, y'all standing? Wow. All the 12-month employees, y'all stand too. Where the 12-month employees up? Y'all out here?
You got 3 minutes to talk.
I'm not at 3 minutes, I'm talking. Okay, now the thing. This is the thing I checked before Father's Day. Y'all something else. Okay, I'm just gonna say that this to loosen up the atmosphere. But you see how beautiful it is in here? It's because of the maintenance department. When you come here in the wintertime, when it's cold and the building is all warm and nice and the grounds are done, it's the maintenance department, okay? Every time you need a event set up or whatever you need, it's the maintenance department that handles that for you guys, okay? Now, it's been 2 whole years just about in no maintenance contract, okay? But you say you appreciate us. That's a rough way of showing that you appreciate us. Now, we are working hard for you guys. We're doing more than just our job, tasks, what you pay for us to do, what we got hired to do. I'm doing more, and each and every last one of them are doing more. We have maintenance people driving buses. We have maintenance people doing, they was custodians, they were plumbing, they doing whatever you ask of us. We are doing it for you guys. Whatever it is, okay, we driving vans, we fixing windows, that's how beautiful all 3 of the schools are. And we short-staffed. We severely short-staffed. And you know we're short-staffed because if you look at your website, it says we need 16 maintenance staff, we need a lead at wedding, we're short-staffed. But our quality of our work has not diminished. It haven't. We're giving you guys the best because our students deserve the best. Okay? They deserve the outcome to be highly educated in a dirty school. Okay? And they're not going to let us down, okay, being kids. They're going to do what they got to do. We as adults got to do what we got to do. And I'm asking the board and the superintendent to take that into consideration, what we mean to you guys. Okay? It no sense to hire more people and they don't stay because they feel they're not getting paid enough or they're doing too much, whatever. It's a waste of our time hiring folks that way. It's a waste of the taxpayers' time. And it's time for y'all to put up and show up for us because we have been this way for you guys. For each and every one of y'all in here. And we're not complaining. We asking for what we deserve. What we deserve.
Thank you. Patricia Powell.
Good evening, board. Dr. Hennessy, I'm coming to you all on behalf of security. Security has taken a bad break this year because of our shortage. But in actuality, we're all beat up. We're hurting. But we are there every day. We do our jobs to the best of our abilities. And a lot of the bullying from administration has to come to an end too. Because at the end of the day, we do our jobs. And at the end of it's just crazy. Because when we take a student to the principals, the grade level principals, it's a tap on the hands. We've got to change everything around so that we're not looking crazy for the things that we do. Because these kids have come back, right back at us and laugh at us talking about how we didn't get in any trouble. Stop slapping them on the hand and start giving them some type of consequences so we, as our job, are a little bit more easier and we don't have to deal with the backlash. Thank you.
Rhonda Sanderson.
This is LaRonda Sanderson. I'm a petition.
Hello, board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we're here to speak on behalf of the kitchen staff. And basically our biggest complaint is the rate of pay. Most of us have been with you guys for 2 years now. We have not received a raise. And anyone else that's being hired new on board is paid the same amount as us. So that's a big pill to swallow. We are severely understaffed. We have a staff of 15 currently. We should have a staff of 26. All three schools are understaffed. The most important thing to us is we keep coming in, sometimes with maybe 4 employees, maybe 5, but we keep coming in because we're showing up for the students. Our job is to feed them, and we're going to make sure they eat. But in the same token, we want to be appreciated. We want to be paid a fair rate. There's other schools around us that are getting paid much more than what we're receiving. And it is definitely one of the things that your retention rate right now suffers because of the pay rate that we're offering the people. No one's applying. And if they do apply, they come for a little bit, they see how much we have to do and we're short staffed, then they don't come back, they quit. There's one other issue that we have. Everyone is considered either a manager, a lead, or a food service worker. All the food service workers get paid $15 an hour. Now, a food service worker is expected to do anything in their kitchen. It's also cooking the food. It is highly unfair for a person to cook the food for like 1,100 students to maybe 700 students and getting paid $15 an hour, when you have another person with that same title as a food service worker that's wrapping sandwiches or serving students or just cashing the kids out. So we suggest that we come up with another title, Kitchen Lead 1 and Kitchen Lead 2. So that person, maybe we can get some people that love to cook and that will come on board. But right now, we both come from the east. I'm the manager, she's the lead. She's currently cooking.
Yes.
I'm cooking with her. And we just got a staff of 6 recently. But your Principal Hall will tell you, we make sure our kids are fed and taken care of. So at the same point, we want to be respected, we want to be heard, we want to be appreciated, because it is definitely it's a job that, a thankless job. It's a thankless job. So that's all I have. Do you have anything you want to add?
No. Thank you. Sorry if I say this name wrong. Terrence Craig? Therese.
Hello, my name is Therese Craig. I've been in the district for 17 years. And I never in my life missed a paycheck. Never. I just don't do maintenance. I started off with security, I do security, I do maintenance. I'm a social worker, I'm a teacher, I'm a parent, I'm Poochie, I'm mama, I'm everything there. And everybody know that. For me not to get a check Friday, that I worked 2 weeks for, I worked 2 weeks for. And 1 week y'all not paying me, I worked with a fighter that got hit in the jaw. Doing security work. I need my check Friday. I never in my life heard nothing like this. Never. I call other schools. I worked at Oak Park, I called them. They getting a check Friday. We on the same payroll. They getting a check Friday. Everything. I call other schools. Everybody getting a check Friday except Proviso Township. That's not right. I work 2 weeks, I punch in. And I'm so confused about something. If we get our overtime in the next 2 weeks, I thought you have to work 40 hours to get your overtime. This is compares to our overtime. So how are you paying us our overtime if you're not working 40 hours? What happened to them 80 hours? Where did them 80 hours go? Where they disappear to? We punched in. I don't know nothing. When you guys come to work, when the new people come back after the 12 months, we still working there. We work there. So we don't take no time off. I need a check Friday. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Margarita Lavascore.
So good evening. I am a little nervous about addressing this topic, but it is one that needs to be recognized and addressed. I am probably not going to be a very popular person after this, but honestly, a wise friend of mine, who also is somebody with whom I work, told me that I should not care so much about what people think, so here I go. So I'm here to address something that has bothered me throughout my time here in Proviso, and I hope that this can become a top priority to remedy in the coming school year, and that is the toxic work environment that seems to have thrived and been made acceptable over the years. I am bothered by actions I have witnessed, tones of voice when talking to students, and comments made in passing about colleagues and students by colleagues and students alike, and I won't go into detail because I don't want to trigger anyone, especially myself. What I would like to say is this. Instead of pointing fingers, I would like to ask that we point ourselves in a new direction. As employees, students, and community members of District 209, we truly need to learn what diversity, equity, and inclusion really means. We need more self-awareness of our actions and words and how they impact others. We need to provide a safe and comfortable environment for all employees and students in District 209. With that in mind, I ask, can we have a trajectory that emphasizes healing over hostility? An environment that emphasizes being kind over being right? Or one in which colleagues work through problems as adults? I ask for a culture and climate that emphasizes cooperation and less division, as well as one that encourages less judgment and more support and empathy. As adults, we are models for the students in the community. What we tolerate is what they learn to tolerate. What we allow is what they will allow. I would like to bring back DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, to the table as a daily action and not to have it be another box to just check off with one professional development. It continues to be an elephant in the room that is not acknowledged. Ignoring the elephant is the same as not recognizing our humanity. We need an environment that allows us to listen to each other's stories so that we understand each other better and can support each other not just as professionals but also as people. We are humans first and foremost, and I hope that we can use the summer to reflect upon what kind of district we would like to see going forward and what kind of people we want to be. We can and must do better.
Thank you.
Latisha Dixon. Paula Strewing.
Could I approach it as, just give you guys each one of these, just for reference later, it's just too much to read. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, good evening, President Grant and members of the board, Dr. Henderson, and the resident community. My name is Paula String, and I'm currently the driver's education teacher here at PMSA, and it's that capacity that I would like to address you this evening. We're experiencing a huge deficit here at PMSA as it relates to getting our driver education students completed and licensed on time. We have countless students here at PMSA remaining ineligible for their license until their junior or senior year, mostly because they can't get into behind the wheel. This semester alone, I have 49 students just from this semester who wanted to enroll in behind the wheel this summer, and they were denied because of a lack of open spots, a lack of instructors, limits on the days and times that behind the wheel is allowed to be provided, and the worst part is a cap that's placed on how many hours of instructional time that is allowed by the district, and that's unacceptable. Last semester, sophomores are eligible today for their license, but they can't get it because they're still short. They have not fulfilled their 6 hours of behind the wheel. So I brought some numbers, some issues, and ultimately some proposals for you to maybe consider. One of them is on that handout, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to let you look at that later. First of all, state requirement includes 30 classroom hours of instructional time. We're currently offering here 70 to 71 hours on average. That's more than double. So this gives us a surplus of over 35 hours that we can utilize during the school day to offer behind the wheel time. You'll see in that document that that is actually per state code that we should be offering that. Our families depend on their students to be able to drive, and it's our responsibility to complete this job and not to leave it unfinished. Behind the wheel during the school day certainly would take some extra FTE, but it's warranted and it's justified and it is absolutely necessary. We preach equity, excellence, relevance for all, right? Well, every single predominantly white and minority school in Cook, DuPage, Kane, Will, Pickett County, they all have their students start and finish their driver education program in one semester. And they're all getting their driver's license on time. Ours are not. So my question is why? We have sophomores that are being just dropped in to driver's education because that's next on their docket. State law prohibits that if they have not passed 8 classes in the last 2 semesters. It's not even being checked. I've been working very closely with Ms. Paulus in our guidance office and her guidance team. They're wonderful. We're trying to figure out a way to work through Power School to try and find the students who are not eligible so that they're not taking away opportunities from students who are. And they've been really great, and hopefully that will work a little bit better moving forward. Lastly, here at PMSA, we don't have a 3-phase program like our sister schools do. They have behind the wheel, they have classroom, and they have simulators. Here we don't have that. We only have the 2-phase, and I have been told multiple times it's a lack of space. We don't have room. We don't have room. I don't buy that because we do. We just need to be creative in the ways that we find it. Listen, I was removed from my classroom during AP and IB testing because they needed my classroom. We got creative. We found a space for us. We can find a space for simulators. We can have a 3-phase program. There are waivers, and we can get creative. And I have so many ideas. I would love to have an opportunity to sit down and talk to you and get this school back on track so our kids can be licensed on time and not be waiting until they're 17 and 18 years old for their driver's license. Thank you.
Thank you. Clarissa Gillespie?
Good evening, board. I'm coming to you as a taxpayer this evening. My comment starts with a simple question: how long? Every month I look at the bill list and the hiring reports and I ask, how long are we going to continue to allow our leader to lynch the finances and resources of this district? $50,000 in credit card bills still not itemized and made available to the public, $500 for a jacket to a former board member, $300 in crystal gavels, yet we have no judges on this board, $200 decanter sets. Decanters are meant to hold alcohol. Educational dollars being spent on items like this should be a no. $300 in edible arrangements, $16,000 in coaching services for an employee that some on this board have proclaimed is the best superintendent we've ever had and has multiple degrees, so no one should be telling him what to do. This board has a duty to the community and taxpayers to spend and monitor our educational dollars and hold your employee accountable. Every meeting we watch admin, especially in the finance department, feign ignorance about the true state of the district finances. Bad acting, I call. My hope is that checks and balances, staff audits, and a financial audit are brought in to uncover the gaps and holes that continue to be hidden. To this new board configuration, I know your plates are full, but grab another plate. Because I'm sure you're gonna need it once you start uncovering more deeds and deals done in the dark. We've tried. We've tried to work with the admin, you fed him well. Please start seriously thinking about shedding him for the sake of our district. Our issues are beyond race. Incompetency has no color. I know some of you like to play the race card, so let me play a few of my own. Before anyone tries to come for me about leaving this black man alone, please know I will. When he stops violating and abusing the rights, voices, and funds of black and brown students and women in this district. How long, board? My hope is not long. Thank
you. Cynthia Williams. Will Taylor.
Hello. I've been a custodian almost 10 years now. I've never been able to afford the insurance. Wow. I've never had it, and it just went up another 43%. Wow. So yeah, I know I won't have that now either. From day one, I was told I was an hourly employee, always paid as an hourly employee. I do understand that, you know, as far as the contract says that we're supposed to only get 26 checks per year, but that's dealing with a regular year. It has no basis for the leap year, so we shouldn't be held accountable for something that we can't control. That doesn't mean the school and the board just gets 80 hours of free work. I don't see how that could possibly be legal. I know half of us live like check to check. I literally had to take a loan out because I won't be getting my check this week. Wow. That makes no sense. So I really hope y'all understand that this affects us tremendously, and like, it really shouldn't have happened. There should have been an amendment happened for the leap year, and it should have paid us our money for 80 hours. I just don't understand how y'all think that was okay.
It's not. It's not.
That's all it is.
Thank you.
Denise Daniels.
Hello, board. Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to thank my custodians and maintenance for coming out. Yes, they did punch out, but they needed to be here. I shouldn't be here by myself. This is about them, the custodians. As he said, they can't afford insurance. They had a backdoor, well, I won't say backdoor, they had an insurance meeting, but they didn't let me in on Zoom, nor did I get an email today. So, therefore, I had to tell my maintenance and custodian, they are trying to raise their insurance by $200. Did you hear him say he can't afford that? They make $30,000. Some of them probably are living check to check. Some of them driving Uber just to make ends meet. But I know the fact that they can't afford that insurance. Okay, I'm going to tell them. They said Bravo's going to pick it up. So their kid gets sick or they get sick, they go to the hospital, Bravo will send the check to Amherst. Where are you going to send it to? Bravo is not going to pay their bill at all. So it's a no. I told them I would not agree to that. My thing is, just like we change insurance for our cars, our home, if Blue Cross is not working for this district, let's go with someone else. We should not be short, these guys should not be without insurance, none of us. As far as the contract, we haven't had one in over 3 years. I don't know what's the problem, I'm not gonna do the name blank, enough is enough. We need a contract. We ready. We need money to live, to eat, to know that we got something coming in. I'm really upset with this place. Not you guys personally, but this has been going on way too long, the name game. As far as insurance, few of us, we called the HR department, maybe she needs some help. But I've been waiting 3 months for my money. My daughter's 27. That's my money. She constantly lies and says she's sending me my money. I have another employee that's been waiting 6 months for his money. That check is coming Friday. The check is coming next time you get paid. So we have to give these guys some help. Because we have a rotating door in this HR department. I don't know what's going on, why they leaving, why they snaking us with our money. I've always said this about this HR department. It has always been crooked. I'm going to say it out loud. Crooked. I have all my paperwork when they stole from me. And I still been fighting. Not just for me, but for everyone over there. So yes, I ask them to come tonight to speak for themselves. They deserve better. They deserve more. We all do. So we just ask this new board to please work with us. You can call on any one of us. Nobody should be speaking for any of us. So my name is Ms. Daniels again. Thank you.
Last comment is from Lynette Garcia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lynette Garcia. I'm a secretary for my secretary at Proviso West High School. I was here last month on the 16th. My issue was June 16th pay period. We get paid 3 times in June. We got our first check last Friday. Now we're supposed to get a second check this coming Friday and another check on the 30th. I've given you, this board, ample enough time to think about what I said prior. Based on that, you all should have come, given some type of decision, one way or the other. But to keep people in the dark as far as their money, that's absurd. When you work, or when you didn't work, when you worked, you knew that you was getting a check. And if you hadn't gotten a check, you would have been up in arms.
Yes.
Mr. Patterson, last time you said that you spoke to Mr. Moody as far as what's going on, why is this happening? You also stated that you did investigation. You called several superintendents about what did they do. Mr. Moody, you dropped the ball. You simply dropped the ball because, first of all, the first thing you said was leap year.
It's not
Sorry, sir, there's no leap year. Leap year is next year. Then you said that you paid us on in the first month of July. I did the research. I went back to 2019. Guess what I found? 21, 22. We were supposed to get paid 26 pay periods. Guess what? We only got paid 25. Yes. I appreciate that you spoke out and you was trying to help us. But the person you should have called was Mr. Henderson. He is the superintendent for our district. Nothing goes past him without him knowing about it. So for this to take place is just outrageous. It's truly outrageous. So what I want to say is that when Mr. Moody said that we got paid, I checked 2019 all the way to the present. When he said that July 22nd that he gave us a check, he didn't. I went back. What he did not realize is that July 22, we were supposed to have gotten 3 paychecks. Now let me explain to you what happened. The first 2 paychecks was from the previous month.
Yes.
Now, that's taken away the first 2 paychecks in July, which he thinks that he paid us extra. So what, it was the last pay period, July 29th, that's when we got our first paycheck for that, for July. He didn't give us anything extra. He did not.
Was he even here?
He wasn't even here. So I'm not understanding how by right you had people, employees, step up, crying, saying that they need this money on Friday, that they have kids, food, responsibility, just like everybody on the board. Mortgage to pay, rent to pay. But yet, y'all still have turned a deaf ear to the cry of your employees. Is that fair? No, it is not. It's not fair at all. And another thing, that's it.
I gave you an extra minute.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you all. Have a great day.
Yeah, now that concludes citizens' comment.
At this time, we have reports and communications from the superintendent.
Good evening, President, Vice President, Secretary, and board members, and all employees, colleagues. Good evening. Let's get started, Dr. Williams, with our PowerPoint presentation.
Good evening, President Grant, Vice President Ocampo, Secretary Barbahan, board members, and Dr. Henderson. Good evening. I'm Sharon Williams, the Deputy Superintendent of Schools. We do have an update on some information items for your consideration this evening. Also, a brief update on summer flight that begins on June 21st. So we currently have approximately 612 scholars scheduled for the first session of summer flight and 418 on the second session. We also have a total of about 180 students who are going to be taking this summer to accelerate their math and accelerated math 1 and 2. Those are for students who are currently in the MSA programs. We also, through our partnership with Introspect Youth Services, have holding our Freshman Connection program again. We have about 33 confirmed students. That's a 6-week program for incoming 9th graders, and approximately 31 students signed up for driver's ed. That includes the classroom instruction and also behind the wheel. Right now we're staffed at about 38 individuals. We have staffing recommendations for you this evening for a total of approximately 51 staff members. The majority of those staff members will be funded through ESSER 3 in terms of their funding source. The information items I have for you this evening are, I have 4 of them, and they're primarily curriculum resources and support for our scholars. The first of which is a supplemental math resource. Several months ago, the Board of Education approved supplemental math materials for East High School through their school improvement grant. This request is for West to have those same supplemental resources. We have discovered over time that we do have deficits in math for our scholars. We are proposing to you today to add actually a class to our curriculum handbook, algebraic reasoning, to support our students in their math journey. These resources are supplemental. They're not to replace our adopted curriculum, which is Envision Math for integrated 1 through 3. This will be, as I mentioned, a supplemental resource for students in math. And this is funded completely through Title I funds. The second resource as an information item is a renewal of our online calculators, our TI-84 calculators. These calculators are online calculators so that we're not continually buying the actual device. We do have calculators in each of our buildings. This will give access to this graphing calculator to scholars when they're at home to do their homework. This is online. They'll have access to it basically 24 hours a day. This also includes the software that teachers use to emulate the graphing calculator. It also allows them to have those posted videos of using the calculator in Schoology and other places so that scholars can access that information later on their own. We do already have scheduled 2 professional development sessions for our mathematics teachers in order to fully utilize the online calculators. And this purchase is, our proposal is to be funded through ESSER 3. This is written into that grant, ESSER 3, the Digital Equity Grant. And that was a smaller grant from ESSER 3 of about $130,000 that we've purchased supplemental materials for technology. The next information item
Question
is,
before we move forward. That item has the lessons on the Promethean board. Will there be training for the teachers on the
Yes.
Promethean boards?
yes, on the Promethean boards?
Yes, because I've heard that they have them or they're not up and ready and nobody knows how to use them because there hasn't been any training.
There may have been gaps, I don't know, when the Promethean boards were installed. That's certainly something that we can work with our technology department and technology integration coordinator when that person is on board to conduct that training. The next information item is for Lexia Power Up and Lexia English. This is a renewal of a service for students who are English learners. The Lexia Core 5 Power Up is for students who are in the ESL or EL bilingual English classes in grades 9 through 12. The Lexia English is for newcomers, and it's an English development program. This is at a total investment of $46,550, and that is budgeted within the Title III grant that we received from the state and from the federal government. And then finally, for an information item is the assessment suite from the College Board. So in the next school year, the next administration of the SAT, PSAT, 8, 9, 10, and again, the SAT, it will be a digital assessment. This is a change, a big change for the College Board and the SAT. Those assessments, including the practice assessments that we're proposing for our school district, will be in the digital format. So this coming year, we're proposing that, again, we give this practice test in October of 2023, and that this total cost also includes the tests that are scheduled for our foundation schools. We use the PSAT, or we offer the PSAT 8-9 for all scholars who are 8th graders in our foundation schools. This is one of the admissions criteria for math and science academies. Some of the benefits of using the College Board suite of assessments over others is that we have access to the data in a way that we can use it online on the College Board site. It gives us our AP potential results. It also qualifies scholars for scholarships, and it's a direct connection. It's the only approved Khan Academy SAT practice, and it also gives us skills insight. And that information is provided to teachers and administrators approximately 6 weeks after the administration of the practice test. And that assessment suite we are budgeting in our general budget for the educational services next year. There are 7 items for your consideration for action this evening. The first of which you received some information as an information item 2 meetings ago, and that's the professional development for teachers and for school leaders through Solution Tree. And their primary product or their professional development that they focus on is PLCs at work. We have had previous training in the district for PLCs at work. This is still a work in progress. We will have more intensive professional development through this partnership with Solution Tree, and that includes job-embedded training on-site for schools, teachers and leaders, also district-wide training and leadership training for principals and other school leaders. Well, in between live session, on-site sessions, we'll have customized virtual sessions so that teachers and leaders can get their questions answered about the PLC's work. This is being funded through the ESSER 3 grant. The next you've also heard information about, and that's the professional development to support our newly adopted curricular resources. So Envision Math is not new to East or West. However, there was a gap in terms of the professional development provided to teachers. We're also proposing that we provide deep and wide professional development for our new curricular resource for ELA class, for English classes, and that's the My Perspectives ELA. The total cost for both of those proposals is $173,000, and again, that's funded through ESSER 3. CTE curricular resources, this is another information item for your 2 meetings ago, and for action this evening. This is for us to ensure that all of our CTE, the great majority of our CTE teachers have the curricular resources they need, and the scholars who are enrolled in CTE courses have the curricular resources they need. That's at an investment of $318,000, and our preferred vendor is Cengage. Here are the courses that will be impacted and will have new curricular resources for teachers and for scholars. We also will have gratis PD through Cengage to make sure that all of our teachers are well prepared to use the resources. One other information item that you received a couple of meetings ago was the One Goal MOU. We've been in a partnership with One Goal since the 21-22 school year. We first began the partnership through a competitive grant through ISB. This new partnership continuation in the MOU is also being funded through ISB, through the ESSER Post-Secondary Success Grant. It is completely funded by that grant. The One Goal includes those 2 models that includes the leadership network, where our school and district leaders have collaboration, coaching, and statewide learning opportunities. Tomorrow we actually have one where several of our coordinators are presenting to a nationwide audience around our work around the data tool and using that data from PowerSchool to drive our improvements in our schools. The second is the classroom model. The classroom model is a 2-year classroom model. Scholars begin as juniors, continue as seniors. The One Goal curriculum is very tight and scripted around getting students through and to college, and supports them in their first 1 or 2 years of their chosen post-secondary program. Items that you have not seen before, but we do ask for your action on these items as they are needed to fulfill some state obligations. The first is the ISB discipline plan. ISB requires districts who have been identified for one of those 3 reasons, racial disproportionality, out-of-school suspensions, or out-of-school expulsions in the top 20%. Our district has been identified due to the percentage of out-of-school suspensions. We have, as being identified, we must submit a discipline plan to the state. We must have that board approved, and we must post that to our district website. The discipline plan is continued from last year. We are happy to report that many of our incidents, fights, disciplines, incidents have gone down, including suspensions, up to 20% over last year. However, we're still identified based on the number of out-of-school suspensions. The discipline plan will continue with a focus on MTSS, supporting students in school to keep them in school. Also supported by our very successful evening school, which has allowed upwards of 40 scholars to continue their education in a sheltered environment. And we're happy to say that up to 13 scholars graduated this past Saturday from evening school. We believe that that is one of the highest return strategies that we've employed this past school year to keep scholars in school and keep them engaged all the way through graduation. Again, this is a required plan, and we will submit this to the ISB and then post this on our website and continue to work with our schools, school leaders, teachers, et cetera, to reduce the amount of out-of-school suspensions. The next is, I mentioned an addition to the curriculum handbook. So with our data examination, we looked at our SAT and PSAT practice assessments, our state mandated testing, our Renaissance Star reports, and also scholar grades. And what we're noticing is that there are a high number of students who are not yet meeting the grade level standards in math. We have upwards of 125 students in the first session of summer school because of math deficiencies. Probably equally the second session of summer school. We have to interrupt the lack of learning and progress for our students in math so that they can complete their graduation requirements on time. Algebraic reasoning, it will be added to the curriculum handbook and be primarily in the 9th grade, and this will be paired with their integrated 1 classroom as an elective so that they can strengthen their pre-algebra and algebraic reasoning so that they can go strong into integrated math 2 and beyond. Finally, for your consideration is an intergovernmental agreement between the Proviso Township High Schools District and West 40. We partner with West 40 to ensure that our scholars have a continuum of services, and those are all alternative learning opportunities programs. The programs that you see listed there are the ones that we access the most, including the DREAM program at East and West. That's for students who are severely credit deficient. The PEACE program for students who may be experiencing behavioral difficulties and need an alternative learning environment instead of being expelled from school. We have Seniors Plus, those students who are entering their 5th or more year of school and want to finish and gain their high school graduation, their high school diploma. And then we also have access to the high needs alternative learning programs. We currently do access services for students in the remote school that West 40 offers. This is primarily for students in need of additional social emotional support, and the district is supporting those students to make sure that they can continue their education, although remotely and at home. So this is the overview of those action items for your consideration this evening. Thank you.
Any questions? If not, Mr. Moody, please come forward.
Good evening, President Grant, members of the board, members of Proviso community. I'm here tonight to bring a couple of items to your attention. First up is the treasurer's report. And it's included in your board packet for your review. Next up is the bill list, which is submitted for your review and approval. And then I want to bring to your attention a couple of bids that we entertained this past month. One of them is for kitchen equipment. You can see from the picture in front of you on the left-hand side, we've got some equipment that is worn, it's old, it's inefficient. We're looking to replace that. There's an example on the right-hand side of what we'd like to replace it with. This equipment was bid out, and the winner was Douglas Equipment at a cost of $81.5 thousand. So we're asking for your approval of that bid. And we also had another bid this month. That bid was for canopy work at West, Proviso West. So in your packet, you've got an action item. It's got a picture of the deteriorated canopy that exists right now. We're looking to have a firm to come in and to refresh that. And in bidding that, we had one bidder. That was Metropolitan Corp. They were the only bidder. And so their bid was $181,000. So we're asking for, going forward, we're asking for your approval to accept the bids for the canopy work, for the kitchen work, and also your approval of the bill list. So right now, if there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain those.
Any questions for you?
I have, Mr. Moody, I have the kitchen equipment and the canopy together under one action item. Are those two separate? Or
Right,
they were
it's
put
two
under
separate.
one?
Yes, two separate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Really quick, while we are here looking at the finances, it has been brought up, it was brought up a few weeks ago and we see it now. Is there anything that can be done about getting people a paycheck this week? Anything?
You know, it's a tough situation. It's a very tough situation. So we take the annual salary of the employees, we divide it into 26 pays, and that's what we pay. And because of the calendar this year, there's this large gap. If we were to add an additional pay period, it would be above and beyond what our contractual agreement is. It would be above and beyond. It would be extra.
But people are working that time.
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, is our pay, I'm trying to understand this. Do people get paid every 2 weeks?
they get paid 20. Well, in this year, no. So they get 26 pays. And we skip one.
You work 2 weeks, you get paid.
But how do you skip a paycheck but people aren't skipping working?
It's
People are
because-
still working.
Right, it's because we're not.
The two
paying them-
options that we had, sir. Provide
Right.
me with the two options we had.
We're not paying them hourly. If we were paying them hourly, then you're correct. They would be entitled to a paycheck. But because we're not paying them hourly, we've taken their annual salary and divided it up into 26 pays, and we're paying them that. So it's not strictly tied to the hours that they're working. It's tied to their annual salary. So if your annual salary is $30,000, we're going to divide it up into 30 and pay you based on that.
Share the options of 26 and
So
27 days.
our option, there was no painless option. Our options were to have the pain in the beginning of the year with more people, or to have it at the end of the year with fewer. So we've seen this situation before, and this is the least painful option.
I think least painful is a privilege of, people who can pay for their bills and their food. I run a food pantry.
Yep.
This is unacceptable to me.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of how my work does it, because I also work for a taxpayer-funded entity. I'm paid every 2 weeks, and it doesn't matter if there are 100 weeks in the year or if there are 5 weeks in the year. Every 2 weeks, I get a paycheck, and then my head's gonna explode. I don't understand how we're not doing this. Ms. Patterson, you said last time you had called around to all these other districts and they all had figured it out. So did you glean a solution from other districts as to what we could do here? Because this is a problem.
So Mr. Moody, with the, let's use the treasurer's office for an example. They're in the same situation. 26 pays based off of your salary. So what they did is they're going to get a check. It's just not going to be as much as it would have been a full check. I think where I'm going to say we because I sit on the board, I think where we dropped the ball is July 1, you should have told the people. December was the first time that you informed them about it. I think if we had started early enough, and you may still be able to do it by calling the treasurer's office, because they're going to get 3 checks. One is just not going to be as large as the other. That's so that those employees would not go without any funds. I've seen this happen.
Mr. Moody,
Dr. Henderson,
explain the 26 or 27 options.
So what happens if we do a 27 pay year, then your normal check is going to be less every payday for the entire year. And so we have situations where people who start in the middle of the year, their salary gets prorated. When they start the new school year, their salary goes down because their salary is being spread out further over a larger number of days, and people are quite incensed when that happens. And so we know what happens when we reduce people's check, because people expect to get raises, they expect their money to increase from year to year. If we reduce your money, you literally have everyone upset about that, and very upset. So that was the pain that we could have chosen for the beginning of the year, because you would literally have everyone asking, why is my check lower? My check should be going up, it shouldn't be going down. Why is my check lower? So that was the option, the other option that we had. So rather than have everybody saying, why is my check lower, we decided we're going to just do 2 pays in June. Not 3, we're going to do 2.
So Mr. Moody, does Proviso still do, you could either have your money spread out over 12 months or get it all in 10 months? You still have that? No.
10 months is an option.
Right. So if they had known July 1 that this would happen, they could have opted at that point to say, hey, give me all my money in 10 months or keep it at 12 months. But because they were not afforded that opportunity, we're here today in this situation.
Well,
because their money could have been spread out, right?
Actually, that's not an option for the 12-month people. That's option for people like teachers have that option because they're not working over the summer.
Right.
But those who are working over the summer don't have that option.
But still, as you're saying, Ms. Patterson,
yeah,
had we taken it to the employees during the summer,
that's right,
told the employees, and the employees would have said, yes, spread my pay over 27 so I can get a paycheck every other week, or no,
Right.
So that's what she's saying.
So why wasn't that done?
Because it wasn't done until December, when they sent that out.
This is like an annual exercise that has to happen, right?
Right.
So, why so late?
If you know, you have to do it. So what I said late is, let's just call it what it is, the ball was dropped. Period, that's it, that's all. That's why we're here. And because we dropped the ball, I don't know what you have to do at this point, but when I talked to the treasurer's office, he set his up in a timely manner, so they're gonna all get a check. But, you know, I don't know. We dropped the ball. Unacceptable.
How many people are affected?
Which employee did that?
I don't know offhand. I can get you that information.
The whole district.
No, not all.
You get your check, right? Right. I guarantee you get your check. Guarantee.
12-month employees. It doesn't affect 12-month employees.
But they clock in and they teach. They're hourly, not salary. So if they sit in the classroom every day and they teach our students, our children, then they should get a paycheck at the end of every 2 weeks. Nobody works for free. So if you wanted to extend the school year, it should have been set up where they're paid past 26 weeks.
Approximately 70. Approximately 70.
70 people are gonna miss a paycheck.
Approximately.
70, and let's be really clear, 70 of our lowest paid employees. Okay.
You're insurance.
Exactly, they have that.
Give me a solution. Dr. Henderson, give me a solution.
Amanda,
We gotta fix this.
Okay, so I just want us to be clear, no one was not paid. The manner in which they were paid is at question, but no one was not paid. From what I'm hearing, the option was 26 weeks or 27. The only option that was not given was the option for them to stretch out their pay to receive that check, but they received all of their money per contract and per the months that they worked. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on what we're talking about. I don't want folks thinking that the district and the board did not pay its employees. That's not true. The manner in which we paid them is not towards the benefit of the employees, and that decision should have been made by the employees. But make no doubt about it, folks got paid for what they worked for.
That is correct.
Okay, so I just want that to be clear, because we can start going all over the place. And folks worked and didn't get paid. I'm hearing, well, if they work, they need to get paid. Everyone that works in this district gets a check. What we're talking about is the manner or the amount of time in which the manner or the amount of time in which they get paid based upon an option 1, 26 weeks, option 2, 27 weeks. So since we did not give them the option for 27 weeks, they've gotten their pay for this fiscal year. Now what you're asking now is what can be done. The board can direct Dr. Henderson to cut checks. And I don't know how that does with the budget or whether or not that's even legal. So let's just cut to the chase and stop the labor.
Madam President, give me the opportunity to look at this and I'll give you a call tomorrow. By noon.
Cut up all of like what? He's like legal. Check for everybody else. No, but I don't like that. Like,
When is the last day of school?
For students tomorrow.
So whatever decisions that have to be made, they have to be made quickly, because the treasurer's office has to have, if they have to do that, they have to know before a certain time period. Time of day, is that correct?
That's true. They had deadlines.
By 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock.
Give me the opportunity. I'll come back to you early in the morning, Ms. Grant.
Also give me the numbers of what that would look like to pay all those people.
I will. All right. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Moody?
Ms. Grant?
Somebody.
Manager? If in fact we are going to direct Dr. Henderson to take that action, I think the board should make that determination. How will we do that, Mr. Gleason?
The board's going to get that special meeting.
So I'm looking at it from a legal perspective. You can't authorize him to cut those checks by yourself. We would have to do it, and it's not on the agenda. So how can we get that done?
So we may have to do that, you know, have a special meeting.
Get the call from Friday.
So the earliest we would easily be able to do that would be Friday. If in fact that was the decision that, and that was an option that Dr. Henderson came up with. It's not like you're gonna say tomorrow, if he says he can do it, we can't do that. So for legal reasons, once again, we need to mesh that out as we're talking about this so that we can make it make some sense.
So, special call meeting Friday?
If you can come up with a plan, we have to have a special.
4 of you have to be present, and the rest could be, you know.
It only requires 4 people.
Yeah.
So I'm off on Friday.
I can as well, in the evening.
Okay.
So we could do it early. Could we schedule it early?
Yeah.
If that's an option, then we could have a special call meeting Friday morning.
Creative.
Yeah, because it's just to come in and do that. And then that way it's taken care of.
Yeah, I would also add, I mean, obviously this should never have happened. We need to really look at and be intentional about the things that we do in this district, everything. The district is the people. You know, we need maintenance and custodians and teachers and all kinds of people here, food service, everyone, are here for a singular purpose, and that's to serve students. And if we aren't serving the people who serve the students, we're ultimately failing the students, we're failing the district. I look forward to hearing your solution tomorrow.
Okay.
With numbers. I was gonna save this for new business, but clearly we need a contract for people. We need to be paying people a living wage. And insurance is not a luxury. This should be affordable. I don't understand how some of the problems we're encountering now, granted, have been here for a while, but why is it still a problem after all these years? I'm really struggling, to be quite honest with everyone, I'm really struggling.
Madam President.
When we talked about moving food service in, I was very, very clear, we have to pay people a living wage. You know, we have insurance coming up, 43%.
That's what I'm about to say. Let me get with you on that.
Okay.
Mr. Gleason, you know what? I heard the maintenance custodial. I've often said, maintenance and custodial, administrative assistant staff, those people make the world go round. Teachers are in the trenches, but if you treat the maintenance and custodial people and your administrative assistant well, they will do everything in their power to help you in the building. If you need something done right quickly, they'll get it done. Same thing for maintenance custodials. The teachers are in the trenches.
I witnessed that.
They will get it done. And I know I have talked to a few of the maintenance custodial people. Mr. Gleason, because it keeps with this finger pointing, and I know you have said that they're blaming the board, they're blaming the administration, but that's not the case, am I correct? Or am I not allowed to talk about that? As far as their representation, the maintenance custodial representation.
So I know that the rep assigned to this group has changed because the gentleman who was handling is on a paternity leave, so there's a new person stepping in to handle it from the union side for them.
So I want to be clear, maintenance custodial, it has not, I will publicly say, it is not the Board of Education, it's not the superintendent, it's your representation. The people that represent you, as you just heard of, they've changed. I know the board has tried to work with the person that was there beforehand, and here we are.
We call them and somebody tell us, we're gonna call you back, or they email us, we're gonna email you back, but weeks go by, months went by, now we're going into 3 years.
You mean that's on your side?
Yes.
Right, I know, we've been trying to get a hold of them as well. Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Moody? Thank you.
Thanks.
Did you talk about individual stuff now or before the discussion? Before the discussion, like we'll call
All right, I'll ask,
But I think we're going to bring on to discussion. Yeah. We're way out.
all right.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, President, Vice President, Secretary, Board Member, Superintendent, colleagues, and community. Tomorrow is the last day of school, and we will be hitting the ground hard with construction in the magnitude of about $23 million over the next 7 to 8 weeks for AC at Proviso East, AC at Proviso West, and we also going to do some work inside the student cafeteria at Proviso East and bring in some fresh air in our kitchens. So over the summer, this is an information item, and Ms. Governor is the consultant that I am speaking to, has helped us tremendously in saving dollars into the program for construction at Proviso Township High School. In your board pack, it says $150 an hour over the summer, roughly 10 hours per week, for the duration through December 30th of 2023. The heavy work will be over the summer, 7 to 8 weeks, and there will be sparing hours when school starts September, October, and November. Typically anywhere in the magnitude of 6 to 7 hours per week once school starts. This work will help myself and my team members get through closeout documents, design documents, putting eyes on every component that's installed in the building, making sure that all of our observation reports are complete, making sure that all the material testing site observations are complete. So this is an information item now, and we're going to bring it back next month or at the next board meeting for an action item. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what's entailed into this construction related to the dollars that we're going to be doing over the next 6 to 8 weeks and the amount that Nancy Governor charges per hour to give us an. Any questions about the information item?
Okay. Then that concludes our report. Thank you.
President's report. Good evening, everyone. First of all, let me say congratulations to our graduates. We're very, very proud of you. My advice to our graduates and really to anyone is that when things get rough, and they will, remember that your track record for getting through bad days has been 100%, and that you never have to repeat that bad day again. You may have a different bad day coming up, but you will get through that too. And we have the full confidence in your abilities and talents to make a difference. Congratulations. We do have our surveys going on. Thank you so much to everyone who's filled out the surveys. We're having some really good responses. Just as a reminder, these results are coming in. They come directly to these Microsoft forms. They are completely unedited, and we're going to start going through these hopefully at the end of July. So I believe we have another week or so to get these responses in. They are open to all of our Proviso Township District 209 family, staff, students, parents. Please fill these out. I would like to especially thank the students who have filled these out. So far we have over 100 responses from students, and it's taking them an average time of over 15 minutes to complete. So I know our students are really putting a lot of really good thought and ideas and pleas for what they would like to see in our school district. And so I'm really looking forward to sorting through all of these, identifying common problems, and working with our entire community to come up with solutions that benefit our students and our district. So thank you so much. I do want to address a few things. Obviously, we've gone through a tumultuous time in the past few years. And unfortunately, I have to say, buckle up. Buckle up, my dears, because we're not done. I think things are going to get bumpier. And I say that, to be quite honest, as someone who has been here for 6 years, as someone who has felt like they were in the twilight zone for the past 2+, and someone whose past 6 weeks has probably given me an ulcer. And I'm not kidding. But we have to remain focused. We have to remain focused on our students and our district and what we're trying to do here. Accountability and transparency are not buzzwords. These are action items. This is the way of doing business that is fair for this district and fair for the people that we serve. We have to hold everyone accountable, and we have to be transparent with what we're doing, from everything, A to Z, finances to goggles for our science classes. And it wouldn't be fair for me to ask for that transparency or accountability without giving it myself. So I will be the first to admit all of my faults. And the biggest one I like to argue. I don't like to let anything sit out there, especially if I don't agree with it or if it's untrue. But unfortunately, the past few weeks I find myself getting sucked in to these arguments that distract from what we're trying to do. There's something I've read about lately. It's called DARVO. Has anyone heard of this? It's something that's big in psychology circles. It's a way of looking at survivorship, abuse, PTSD. DARVO stands for a few things. D is for deny, A is for attack, and R is for reverse victim and offender. Okay?
Yeah.
And I get sucked into it every time. Every time. We all know what the deny is, right? We're gonna feign ignorance, we didn't know that was happening, we're gonna say it didn't happen, we're gonna have our defenders say that it didn't happen, or it didn't happen like you remember it, right? You're obviously wrong, you're not thinking clearly. And then we're gonna attack. And then the attacking looks like bullying, looks like gaslighting, it looks like spreading rumors to undermine people's credibility. And then finally, the last part of this manipulation tactic is to reverse the victim and the offender, right? So that the perpetrator gets to now claim that victim status, whether it's based on socioeconomic status, whether it's based on race, gender, privilege, status, position, whatever it is. They're the victim. These people have been done against me. And it's these people who you should hold accountable, right? I'm sucked into it every time. A lot of us are, I think. A lot of us have been. And every time these manipulation tactics are used, it takes our focus away from what we're supposed to be doing here. And that's serving the students, and it's serving the district. And fortunately, I think there's an easy solution. Because DARVO is based on words. Just words. Unless there's action or evidence to back it up, it will remain just words. Action is what moves our district forward. Doing things like making sure we have supplies, making sure people are paid, making sure that we have enough food, making sure that our science classes have goggles, making sure that the books we're asked to pay for are the books that our teachers actually need to teach their classes, and not just because we have to spend money real quick. Okay? It's coming up with a thoughtful staffing plan for this district that includes more social workers, more counselors, and bringing back a career and college counselor for every single building. Okay. It's taking a report on toxic dirt that has been mentioned in facility meeting after facility meeting and making it available not just to all the board members, which I still don't have my hands on, but making it available to the public so you know what that big mound is outside of West where your kids go. Okay? That is action. Here is this report. We want to be transparent with you. Here's what we're paying men and women in this district. Let us be transparent with you. Here's the choice you have on how to get your paychecks. We're coming up with this 6 months in advance so that you know how to plan your year out. That's action. It's making sure that when students are doing something they shouldn't be, they're held accountable. And when students are ready and willing to succeed, we have every single tool available to them. That is action. So I will do my part to stay out of that toxic mess and keep my eyes on the prize. And that is making our district better for the students. And it's everyone holding me and us accountable, but also us and you guys holding each other accountable. This next year can be a very difficult one. We are going to look at the start of the school year. We're looking at all these different things that have been presented tonight. We still have construction going on. We still have a teacher shortage. We have too many kids being taught by screens and not people who know what they're doing. But all of this is within our power to fix if we have people who are ready to do the work to make it happen. So I am asking you, our teachers, our administration, our students, our parents, community members, everyone. We have an incredible opportunity amidst the bumpiness and the toxicity and BOE requests not being filled and a million other things I can think of that obviously need to be better. We have an opportunity to come together and make this district what our students deserve. And I really believe that with all my heart. In so many ways, this is difficult, but it is a gift. It is a gift. My next few months will be focused on righting wrongs. They will be focused on repairing relationships, and they will be focused on rebuilding this district. And we don't need to be a good school. We don't need to be a great school when we have the ability to be truly the best school. There is nothing stopping us. We have the money, we have the talent, and we have the resources. Look at the action. Look at who is with us moving forward. And I welcome everyone to join us. Thank you. At this time, can I please get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Ms. Barber, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant? Aye. Mr. Belfiore is absent. Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Motion carries.
May I please get a motion to approve the bill list?
So moved.
Can I have a second? And then we will discuss?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Discussion. Mr. Ocampo, I believe?
Yes, good evening. I have some concerns as it relates to the gift policy, the ethics and gift policy found in section 2, section 2-105.
Yes.
As it refers to the following, I'll list out the invoices and then I'll list out the page number. So invoice 2303155. So let's, we'll get everyone there. So that is on page 63. That is the edible arrangement for $241. Okay, and I'll list them out because they're all, I feel, in violations of the gift ban. 20303-483. That is on page 67. That is the crystal gavel set. And in fact, there's a second charge. I don't know if it's a duplicate, but for the same crystal gavel set. So there's two entries for that, which is 2303771.
I'm sorry, did you say page number?
Page number 67.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
And then this next one is page number 73. All right, and then moving on to 2303490, which is on page number 68. That is the large black with golden sleeves as a jacket for $464. And the decanter set for invoice 2303489. Same page, page 68, is for $121. Then invoice 2303769. That is for flowers, an arrangement of flowers for $159.98. That is on page 72. So that, as it relates to the gift policy, right? Violations of the gift policy. And for that reason, I don't know if we want to discuss or if we want to vote to remove those individual ones.
Those gifts? Are those gifts? All of those gifts?
Those are all gifts. Flower arrangement? That's a gift.
No, who was that?
It says here, flowers for you arrangement, Mr. Wagner. Services.
Mr. Wagner.
That's what it says here.
I don't think I'll be sending Mr. Wagner's flowers. Now, who sent, do we know who sent them?
I don't know, but it's listed here.
Well, Mr. Moody, you're sitting there.
Mr.
You help
Moody,
us out
help
here?
me. I am, but you would need to research it.
Wait, no, some of these are clearly, they say Teresa Kelly. Some of these say Teresa Kelly.
What says Teresa Kelly?
Half of them. Half of them. Okay, so let's go back to the first one. Invoice 2303155. So the first three words, Miss Teresa Kelly. Her birthday.
For $241?
For $241.
What was it?
But wait.
Who's buying this? Who's buying this?
Listen, guys, I have people who work for me, so I really don't know.
Oh.
If you'd asked me that,
Everybody
I would have been able to just tell you.
Well, we can't approve these, right? Like, this, we received this on like, was it Friday evening? And like, I didn't get my electronic copy, so it's very difficult for me to kind of, well, you know, smooth any of my Excel sheets, but, this is in clear violation of the gift policy.
Yep.
These entries.
Give me that policy. What was that policy?
2.105.
In violation of the gift.
Well, it says no more than $75 in a given year. Number 8, food or refreshments not exceeding $75 per person in Valley on a single calendar day, provided that the food or refreshments are consumed on the premises from which they were purchased or prepared or catered. Catered meaning food or refreshments that were purchased ready to be consumed, which are delivered by any means. That.
Clear, that's clear.
Now, I know we can't return it.
Do you know the total of all these items, Mr. Campbell?
I don't, I think it's over 1,000. Of the ones that I listed, it's over 1,000, 1,200.
All right, so really quickly, can you repeat them again, just the page numbers?
Yeah. I wrote them all down.
You got them? Yes. So,
Do you want me to repeat for everybody to write down?
we'll pull those when we do the vote. That would be great. This is clearly in violation of our gift policy.
I would like to know the reason.
Good policy, yeah, because
I'm looking for the
because
policy.
I know the district has sent flowers to people's funeral.
Right.
I know they have
Yeah, I'm looking for the
sent,
policy.
so when we're saying,
Laser?
Crystal gavel set, personalization type, logo and text. Email your logo to graphics@crystalartusa.com. Engraving font, Tahoma. Type engraving text below. After placing your order, our graphic designers will create the proof. We recommend up to 5 lines, 20 to 30 characters per line. Mrs. Teresa L. Kelly, Proviso Township High School, D209, Board of Education, 24 years of, and then I assume it's service. That was $296.50. Mr. Gleason, as our final authority on things, would you like to weigh in on the gift policy, please?
Are you directing me to, you want me to give you a legal opinion in open session?
Yeah.
In other words, will be protected by the attorney-client privilege. If the chair is directing me to give it an open session, I will, but it's your privilege, not mine.
Is the gift policy limited $75? That is what I have understood it to be.
So all of the limitations in sections 1 through 12 of your policy are mutually exclusive and independent of each other, so they can be packaged together. But I think the question is whether these are gifts under the policy or whether these are like tokens or emoluments that are authored, that are given by the board to people. So it's not necessarily a question of whether it violates the Gift Ban Act, which is really people giving gifts on their own to elected officials. It's whether or not it's a proper expenditure of public funds under the Illinois Constitution. So I think the question is a little bit different than the way it's being viewed. It's can you spend public funds for these types of things? There's the outer boundaries of it aren't particularly clear, but oftentimes you'll give plaques or do things for folks who retire and things like that. The question becomes, is that appropriate? It's just not super clear in the law because there's not a lot of cases about it as to what the outer limits are. So the question, I guess, for me is whether this amount of items to people who had service to the board or are no longer on it, and I don't know when the expenditures were before or after, whether that was appropriate.
Okay, so maybe if we look at precedent, like if we look at other people who had 24 years of service in the district, did they get a jacket and a decanter and crystal gavels and over $200 of fruit dipped in chocolate?
Okay, so may I speak, Ms. Grant?
Yes, Dr. Henderson.
So a few gifts that I do know about would be a gift to Mr. Wagner, the crystal gavel, as well as Miss Kelly. The cantor went to Mr. Wagner. I do not know about any flowers. And that's it. Those are the 3 gifts that we gave.
The jacket.
Oh, and the jacket. That was $290.
It was $464. So that was also
I don't know.
a gift from your office.
That was a gift from, right. Which is pretty much the same thing that I just followed what I saw the previous superintendent do.
You just said accountability.
The previous superintendent did not give jackets and decanters.
I have the receipt, so maybe we should take a look at that. Let's get started there.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Then the question
We're gonna go ahead and
district funds, and from my perspective.
Yeah.
So it's not a violation of the policy. It's not a gift ban issue because these are not gifts per se from outside people. The board has. The board has traditionally.
Ask your people.
The board has traditionally given gifts to employees and board members. It's amazing to me as we sit here and talk about.
We have gotten every once in a while with Dr. Rodriguez, we would all get a plaque.
Excuse me.
We would all get a jacket or a shirt. I have like a bunch of like polo shirts. So we could have attire. This is true. That was done.
What was the amount?
I don't know.
You think?
I don't know.
You think? Yeah. It wasn't an issue. until now. So, it's fine if the board wants to discredit the work of Ms. Kelly. I mean, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Ms. Kelly donated or volunteered 24 years of her life to this district to serve this
She
board.
ain't do nothing for free. Stop it.
Okay. And notwithstanding the vitriol and stuff that we just talked about trying to get rid of, here we go again.
The question is this an appropriate use of taxpayer money?
If moving forward, you don't
Of
want
taxpayer
to.
money,
Yeah, I got you.
that's what it is.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything else they would like to discuss about the bill list? I have a question, page 17, Deborah Antoine. There are 2 items there listed, a bunch of things for her: edited fax matter script, edited blurb on excellence, proofread edited points of pride. We have a research, twice it's entered, research superintendent PR. Can you tell me what that is about?
It's on page 17.
Thank you, sorry, 17.
She's probably putting a job description. That was to advertise the PR position.
Research superintendent PR.
Yeah, that's probably where she is.
My next question would be, we have a check group for Encouraging Arts Incorporated. It's for a bunch of signs and mats. The total amount for this payment is $10,074. Can anyone talk to me about this? Mr. Moody?
Had to be from a school at that.
Well, so here's my question. Huh?
What page are you on?
I'm sorry, 19, you're right, I'm sorry, page 19. So my question is, we have not actually received this merchandise or this signage, but there's a check being cut for $10,000 plus.
What exactly would that be? You know, one of the things that I would like to recommend,
You're not the president of us, so let Amanda talk. We're not listening to your recommendations. We don't listen.
you can leave, honey.
I don't
You
have
can
to.
leave,
I'm
cutie
a
pie.
taxpayer. You can leave too. You can
You can leave.
You can go too.
Yeah.
The president,
You want to be respecting of so give her her respect.
What I'm
She
going
talks.
to say to you is,
makes the decision.
Oh, wow.
The president makes the decision about who stays and who goes in this
Let's not go
audience.
down my
but
black
I'm
road.
talking to him now. I'm not here to argue. I'm not about going back and forward and backwards. Mr. Moody, so that you're not in this situation, why don't you bring receipts down with you instead of saying, I'll get back to you? You have the receipts. These are questions that you should be able to answer.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are, Rodney. Rodney, they are.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's on the agenda,
No.
and Amanda, you set the agenda, so I'm confused why these questions are coming, because you have set the agenda.
The bill list is on every agenda.
I understand that.
I'm asking
And
about
the
this particular
questions-
charge.
Yeah, so you didn't know that before now?
Answer the question.
No, because I actually called up this company today,
Uh-huh.
because I was really kind of concerned about what it could be. And like you do with calling other superintendents and districts and do your
it's okay.
research.
Right.
I was informed by this company that they thought it was really unusual that someone called them and asked for invoices when they have not provided product, and that is not normally how they do business.
And then who did you call?
I came here.
Or you didn't call the superintendent, or you didn't call the business office to get an answer?
He doesn't know even who's buying gifts for Teresa Kelly.
Maybe he can find out if you give him an opportunity 4 days before the meeting, Amanda.
He should, the buck stops here.
I know.
The buck stops
I
here.
know.
These are the questions.
Okay.
These are the questions.
I got you.
If I may add to that, it's interesting, there's only one entry for 1860 on page 19, but when I do a search for encouraging arts, I see more. I see more entries. One for 3,240, one for.
They had oh, sorry, they had confirmed that they've done work for us before. They have confirmed that they've done work, their practice is to do the work, and then bill. And they actually mentioned they had been working with, Principal Hall in past districts, they had a long relationship with him. And they also mentioned that they had talked to, I believe, Mr. Taylor, because they came in to do some measurements, and you had mentioned wisely, don't install because we're gonna do construction and we don't wanna pay for something that then has to get like removed and could possibly be damaged. Right, right, so this is a reputable company, we've done business with them before. I'm just, was concerned because for this particular thing, we have no product. So I don't know if these are basic things and they're not tied to any grants or titles that are going to be expiring and we're trying to spend the money. Why are we cutting checks for products we have not paid? It just concerns me. So, you know, if we're not getting the small stuff right, we're not getting the big stuff right, right? So we have to be very careful about things like this. I mean, this $10,000 is nothing to sneeze at, in my opinion. Does anybody else have any discussion about the bill list?
Yes, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Inspire, and is it Nia? 50 and 58. It looks like they're one and the same.
Can you tell me what page you're on? Ma'am?
Yes, sure, page 50.
Thank you.
And page 58.
Those are principal coaches.
56.
Principal coaches. They're coaching the principal.
Which principal?
All three.
So they're coaching our principals.
That's correct.
All right, does anybody want to pull anything from the bill list?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Inspire, Nia. That's it for me, Mr. Campbell.
The ones that I previously listed, I could go off.
I can repeat. Barbara and yes,
I have, but I, Sandra, or Mrs. Hickson, can you give me the Inspire PO number? And the Nia PO number? Just so I can have it.
Did you get a copy of that contract?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Those two contracts?
Yeah.
I'd like to pull everything for encouraging arts.
I'm sorry, Ms. Grant. What was the name of it? I mean, what kind of company was that?
At signage?
Oh, signage, okay.
Do you have a PO number, Amanda?
I do. It is 230-2895. It starts on page 19. 20, yes, ma'am.
The signage is the one that you talked to the people today, Amanda?
That's correct.
No,
Because it hasn't been ordered.
We haven't,
It hasn't been ordered. They haven't done the work.
but they got the invoice for it, is what you're saying.
They said they were called and asked for invoices, which they felt was unusual because they haven't delivered any product. But no, in their defense, they had said, and I do believe this, and I wish we knew who had asked for these invoices. They said they'd been working with many, many schools. It's tied to a grant or title funding that might end at the end of the fiscal year, and you want to spend it. That is legitimate. That happens. That does happen. Unfortunately, they couldn't tell me who ordered the invoices, but they were adamant that it was not their usual practice because they do not bill until they have provided the product. So I'm not trying to badmouth the business that I feel was very transparent with me. And then final discussion, this is something that was addressed earlier, and I just want to make sure that people know, because Dr. Henderson had addressed this. If you could address those payments that are going out tomorrow?
Oh, yes, PACE.
Yes.
Yes, those payments that will be going out tomorrow will be PACE to the tune of $1.2 million. Maryville, $166,000. And then First Student, approximately $300,000.
And this brings us.
And they will, yes, we're current.
That brings us current.
To June, yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is that in the?
What? It's not in the bill list.
It's not in the bill.
Is it posted?
You received an email.
We all got emails about it.
So we're about to pay something that we haven't told? No. So what is that?
Yeah.
Just ask.
We're under contract for all of these services.
I got you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
The maker of the motion has to amend it to remove the items that have been listed, because you don't want to include those, and I don't know if you're going to vote on them separately, but whoever made the motion, make a friendly amendment to exclude the items that have been specifically listed.
Okay. All right, Mr. Alexander, would you like to make a motion to amend the bill list?
Nope.
So you all can vote against the bill list and then have a new motion to pass the bill list with those.
I make a motion to amend the bill list.
There's the action. Thank you. All right, there's a motion on the floor to vote on the bill list minus the items that have been pulled, which are Encouraging Arts, Inc., the gifts, and
Inspire.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's the motion. Someone needs to.
Second.
Thank you.
We need to,
Do you want me to read?
motion, second, discussion.
Discussion?
Are either of these bills or services that we've already received and we're just not gonna pay them?
Yes.
So we've already received the services from these two that are being pulled, and the board is voting not to pay them for the services we've already received?
Maybe on 30 weeks. Give them an option.
I'm asking, if that, is that what we're about to do?
That is what we're about to do.
Okay, so we're not gonna pay. It's
Well,
not, no.
I mean, you have contracts,
Right.
so they're gonna get their money.
They're gonna get their money, so I don't know what we're about to do.
Well, if we're paying them from taxpayer funds, after we've been directing people to not do that, then we have a problem. We need to come up with a solution, and I'll, ask Dr. Henderson to do that, about how we can make amends for some of these items. We're clearly not gonna pay the one company that we haven't received anything for. And truthfully, they're not expecting anything. So there's no need to cut a check there.
They're not even being pulled though.
Yes, they are.
I'm talking about the other two. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the two for this Inspire.
We're gonna have to figure that out.
What did Inspire do? Coaching.
What, so coaching? That's for the coaching. Those are services.
They've
that have
already received the service?
They've already coached our principals and you don't want to pay them.
Those are retainer fees, it was like.
No, they've already coached our principals. And this is how they get paid tomorrow. And we're saying we're not going to pay them for doing
Then let's
the work that
review the
they do.
contract, let's find out what the coaching is.
Over
Let's do a deeper dive.
by the board.
Let's look, we have to be responsible to this, let's look.
We will get you the contracts.
Thank you.
Dr. Williams, will you send those contracts
Inspire and what else?
to me, please?
Nancy, Isaac, Alpha.
I'm done. We can go.
NIA Education Group is on page 4.6.
Ms. Barbara, please call the roll.
Bill list, Mr. Alexander.
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson. Aye. Mr. Ocampo.
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson. Ms. Grant.
Aye.
Mr. Belfier is absent. Ms. Barbahan, aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Our next item is to accept the bid for the kitchen equipment installation and setup. We are on page, this is item number 14, excuse
We
me.
need to split it between 14A and 14B.
Thank you.
Is they both on there?
Yeah, they're both listed as 14.
So 14A would be for kitchen equipment, 14B would be for the canopy.
That's right, thank you, I'm sorry, we're lumped together. So can we amend that to accept the bid for kitchen equipment installation and setup for 14A?
You should just make a motion to approve the item for kitchen equipment and then make a second motion to approve the PW canopy.
All right, I will make a motion to approve accept the bid for the kitchen equipment installation and setup.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Valtierra, absent. Ms. Barbahan, aye. Motion carried for 14A kitchen.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to accept the bid for the canopy work at Proviso West?
Discussion.
Oh, hang on. Second?
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no question. I believe according to board policy, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Hickson, we cannot accept this only bid, right, that, from Metropolitan Corp?
That's not, no, that's the only bid, that's the only
Well,
bid.
how long has that bid been out, that request for it?
Mr. Taylor, will you come speak to this, please?
And my second question, my follow-up is, how urgent is that?
So I answered the question, how long the bid was out. The bid was in the newspaper for 2 weeks, 10 business days. 4 bidders did have interest in it. They just did not meet the deadline to submit their bid. I believe the work is a high-level concern because the peeling paint is right at Circle Drive. That's been a hanging chad for probably like 4 to 5 years. We tried to power wash it a few times and repaint it. That only works for a season. We had Perkins and Will get involved to give us a scope of work from the professionals, along with working with Sherman-Williams to give us the proper product to actually adhere the sealant. All of the electrical will be removed during the power washing and sandblasting process before the final coat going to that area. But our students are in that space all the time, and it's peeling paint, and I think it's urgent that we do that work.
And you said that the others showed interest, but they didn't turn in bids on time. Did they eventually turn in a bid, or?
No, not at the deadline, they did not. Did they turn in late, Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
So they didn't even turn in a bid, but they were interested in the work. This is extreme high-level construction season right now. We're asking the contractors to have this work done by November 1, because we would like to have it done before the winter season, not go back into the spring with all of this paint peeling. It has been an ongoing problem for quite some time, and we just want to get it taken care of as soon as possible. Most contractors are deficient in having the nice amount of staff on hand, and a lot of people just don't want to take on extra work in the summer because they have already committed to doing a ton of work.
Any other discussion?
And your recommendation would be to have it done, you said over
Before
the summer?
Before November 1.
Before November.
Yeah, before.
So there is some time if we wanted to get some additional bids too.
Yeah, sure, but please take into consideration.
Yeah.
Wages go up, products go up.
Mhm.
If we do take a chance to go back out to bid again, yeah, you might get more responsible people to get in, you might get a higher price. We did have a scope review. We do believe this price is fair. There's a large amount of sandblasting and encapsulation of the area to make sure that the pulverizing dust do not go out into the community, inside the building. So it's an extensive amount of work that needs to be done. We do believe the price is fair.
But we still got a hill of dirt at us. Toxic dirt.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Ms. Barbahan, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Nay.
Mr. Ocampo?
Nay.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Sam Gutierrez is absent. Ms. Barbahan? Nay.
So when we're tied, the nays have it.
Motion fails.
Motion fails. Okay. All right, let's go back out to bid for that one. Thank you. All right, next item. Curriculum Handbook 23-24 update, course edition, algebraic thinking. Can I get a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Dr. Williams, how will we identify kids to take this class?
As mentioned previously, we use the College Board's PSAT 8-9 for all of our foundation schools. We do receive those results, so that is one marker that we will use to recruit students into that elective class.
And this class will be in all 3 schools?
Just at East and West.
Oh, okay.
There's no room in the schedule of a student at PMSA for this course.
Okay, and then.
And they've met the criteria as an accelerated student to be accepted into PMSA.
Okay, and then my next question is, like we currently have no math coordinator for the district, so who will oversee this?
I am, with the help of Mr. Spelnies, our science coordinator.
Okay.
Yes, until that position is filled.
Right.
Any other discussion? No, go ahead and call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Gutierrez absent. Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Motion carries.
Next, we have our Solution Tree Professional Development. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I have just a question. So this is for educators, correct? The
Yes.
educators and
School leaders and teachers.
school leaders and teachers, including principals?
Yes. School leaders.
And who, did we get feedback from educators to, to get a sample perhaps of what the curriculum was? Like, how do they feel about? And I guess my question goes for both 16 and 17. How do they feel about these services? Like, is it useful? Is it?
Part of the feedback that we've received from educators is that they want more time to collaborate. One of the findings and recommendations from the curriculum management audit was to ensure that we have collaborative time for teacher teams. And PLCs is exactly that. It's a structure for teachers to work together collaboratively to look at student work and to examine students' scores in order to make plans to reteach or accelerate students. So this fits right into what educators gave us feedback on in terms of collaborative time.
Will this replace any existing tools, or is this like?
No, it's a framework. It's more of a framework and a way of thinking about looking at student data. So there are some certain ideas and 4 main questions that school leaders and teachers ask together about student work. What do we want students to learn? What have they learned? What are the results? What do we do if they haven't learned it? And what do we do if they have learned it? And then those collaborative teams walk away and work together in order to come up with solutions for students who, first of all, determining what we should teach. and that is connected to Illinois state standards, which we should teach and when. And when we have information about how students are doing, about how we're teaching, what they've actually learned, did they learn it or didn't they learn it, and what are we going to do about it as a team? We have garnered the support of one of the top PLCs at work trainers, that's Jack Walderman, who is going to be a superintendent in Westmont. He's been with our school leaders. We actually visited Westmont with a group of teacher leaders to see their structures and how they work together to ensure that our students are learning. And this is a great opportunity for us to learn from one of the top speakers on the national level for PLCs at work.
It says here the workshop location is district site. Will that be here at PMSA? Or?
So it depends on where we have our district kickoff this year, September 1st, based on our construction.
Yeah.
But yes, all of this work is going to be on site. So when it says job embedded coaching, that means Jack Balderman will be at East, West, or PMSA, working with groups of teachers and their school leaders.
Is there an option to have the teachers provide feedback after?
Of course. And
we are
school
gathering
district ask for it. They have standardized feedback tools that they ask us to give to teachers and school leaders after the sessions. Additionally, Ms. Albans is tracking all of our professional development. We're required to by ISB. And there's a feedback form that goes along with every single one of our professional development sessions in the district.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are there any administrators that can do the same?
There are administrators that do have experience in PLCs at work. They are not trained by Solution Tree. You notice that this is trademarked. PLCs at work is a trademark framework for work in schools. We do not yet have school leaders who can lead this training at this level. Part of our hope, and hope is not a strategy, but part of our strategic way of implementing PD is to ensure that our school leaders can then lead the work. So that's why we started with leaders last year. So this year, they're going to be learning right along with their teachers, and again, job embedded within the school. So not necessarily going out to a workshop, but Mr. Balderman will be in the school with our teachers, working with them in their PLCs.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Ms. Barbahan, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander? Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Oconto?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant? Aye. Mr. Delpere is absent. Ms. Barbahan, aye. Motion carried.
Next item, can I get a motion to approve SAVIS professional development?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. So how does this fit into the previous topic that we just discussed? Because to me they seem...
So one of the quickest ways a school district can basically waste their money is to invest in curricular resources and not provide professional development for their teachers. This action item is specifically tied to two very large investments over 6 years of curricular resources that our ELA teachers, our English teachers, and our math teachers will use daily with our students. We feel it's very important in order to ensure full and complete and successful implementation that we have a very robust professional learning plan for teachers and leaders. So this proposal is for SAVIS, which is the vendor for Envision Math and My Perspectives ELA, to provide that same deep job-embedded coaching and support of teachers as they're implementing a new curricular resource. So it doesn't necessarily overlap with the PLCs, it's a part of that, but this is more about the pedagogy of the resource that they're using.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Gutierrez, absent. Ms. Barberhand, aye. Motion carried.
May I please get a motion to approve one gold memorandum of understanding?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Any questions on this one? No? Okay, Ms. Barberhand, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Gutierrez, absent. Ms. Barberhand, aye. Motion carried.
Can I please get a motion to approve the Cengage grades 9 through 10 career and technical education curricular resource adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This is, one of my concerns is that these sound great, and I am 100% about getting teachers the resources they need, but it's my understanding that a lot of these classes don't use these books, or that they've requested something different, or that they already have new materials that they're using. So I think we should shelve this for a bit, no pun intended with books, but really take a look at what teachers want and need and spend the money to that end. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Nay.
Is that the vote to table?
No, it's yes or no.
Mr. Ocampo?
I'm sorry, what was the,
So we're on item 19, Cengage grades 9 to 12, career and technical education. Resource adoption.
okay. Nay.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Nay.
Mr. Gutierrez is absent. Ms. Barberhand? Nay. Motion failed.
Thank you. Can I please get a motion to approve the ISB discipline improvement plan?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, I have questions. As I was looking through the charts here, I noticed that, you have, was it 2, 4, 5, 6 categories, right? And more often than not, it looks like other. The other category had the majority of the incidents. Could we elaborate on what other is? I would say it doesn't fall under those other 5, but why so many, why is it a catch-all?
The other category is a catch-all, because there are many reasons that students come to the attention of a school leader. If we break down that other, we'll have 10 or 12 other types of incidents. And if that level of data is something that you're interested in, I can certainly provide that information to Dr. Henderson.
Yes, I'd be interested. Thank you.
I have a question as well. Are all incidents and then the action afterwards consistent between East, West, and PMSA?
No. We're working toward that end. May I say not yet? So part of our work with the Students' Rights and Responsibilities Handbook and also with an MTSS framework is to ensure that we have parity between our 3 schools, and that when we say fighting at East, it's the same concept at West and at PMSA, and getting our school leaders more accustomed to using our chart that shows a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for different types of incidents, and using that consistently. And that is part of our work together to get better calibrated.
A date that we could expect something consistent put together?
We work on it every day. I will say that we will work on it again every day until we get closer. Our incidents and suspensions are going down. We're also very invested in making sure that we have reset rooms next year. That position is posted now so that we can offer alternatives to out-of-school suspension. And again, it's just about us calibrating more.
Thank you. And who from each school is tracking and entering the data? Like who's?
Any school leader, so that includes our grade level principals and the principal. And then that's aggregated up to our office, and Mr. Ashoff is primarily responsible for reporting that aggregated data to us.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson? Aye. Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Sam Belltier, absent. Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Motion carried.
Next is get a motion to approve the West 40 intergovernmental agreement for school year 24.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson? Aye. Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Sam Belltier is absent. Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you, and congratulations to West 40 for purchasing the St. Joe's building. I know they had an open house tonight. We're really excited about that. Number 22, approval to revise the school year 24 calendar. Can I get a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion. Why are we, number one, why are we changing the schedule again?
We are talking about changing the schedule because we have a lot of families that are disparate calendar because it doesn't match up with the foundation schools. It's causing problems for the families. It causes problems for childcare, transportation, and several other things. So one of the things that we had discussed last meeting was about getting creative to find a way to do this. I don't think it's possible to completely align our school year with the foundation school simply because people have already made plans. Summer's here, right? Tomorrow's the last day of finals. But I do think there is a way to start a little bit earlier so we are in front of Labor Day. So maybe we're still starting a week behind other schools, but starting a week ahead of where we thought. And with our one-to-one technology plan, we can start remotely. So that's possible. We can bring freshmen in to do some kind of training on the computers, and then use that first week to really get everyone acclimated, to get them started, and then
The revise this.
to move it ahead a week. So that's my suggestion, to move it ahead a week, start remotely for that 1 week. We're still behind the foundation schools, but we're still ahead of Labor Day so that we can hopefully wrap up a little earlier. And then by the next school year, when we're looking at 24-25, we can be completely in line with our foundation schools. So parents and families can plan accordingly.
So let me,
Can I finish? So, we've always pretty much been in line with the feeder schools. If my mind serves me correctly, these last 2 years, last year and this year, we moved to September because of construction. Is that right, LT? I remember it was at one point there were teachers were complaining about the dust. And so this board, prior to the new people, that was one of the reasons. I don't have a problem with changing it, but I'm just saying the reason that we made the change was because of the construction, because of classrooms being, too dusty. And I do know that they're putting in the air condition with this, right, Betty? So, which means dust is going to flare up. My other question is, what is the cutoff time, Mr. Gleason, for revising according to Illinois school code, the schedule.
When do we have to submit the calendar?
Mm-hmm.
So, Ms. Patterson, I'll speak while Mr. Gleason's looking. We've already submitted the calendar. But the major concern here, Board, is you only have 5 e-learning days. Only 5. So if you take those and move them up front, all the snow days, we won't be able to do e-learning. They will have to come to school in the snow. No, because you only have 5 days. So there are 2 issues here. You have the e-learning, only 5 days. You will not be able to use e-learning during snow days. And then construction will still be going on. So that was the only reason. Because trust me, we really want to start, get back to where we were mid-August. But it was about the construction. And that was the only reason.
I mean, code doesn't have a specific date, it just says it has to be approved by the ROE before it goes into effect.
And it had been approved.
The current calendar for next
Yes.
year. But Amanda, you're looking to change and maybe put 5 days, e-learning, add e-learning and start sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying because of the way the calendar is set up with the snow days, that could be a problem.
That's major concern.
Okay, question. So where's the calendar that we are going to approve where's the revisions?
We're discussing, I didn't
Is it
make a calendar.
No, this is a vote to revise the calendar. Where's the revised calendar?
Right,
Without
we're
we're gonna revise.
talking
where
about
is
it. We're talking about it.
You're saying you're
No,
asking us to
we're
vote
about-
on the calendar we don't even see.
I'm
Right.
asking us to come up with a calendar if we can.
That would be an information item, but you have this as an action item. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna vote on a calendar that's not even developed.
If we agree to start school a week or a few days earlier, then we can look at the calendar as it is, and then we just, the squares, you just move them back accordingly to what we have planned. And then that's the calendar,
Where's the approved calendar?
right, like, it's a calendar?
I see what you're saying. You're asking us to vote on.
We can't see, I don't even know what the approved calendar is, and we're asking you to take action on something we can't see. So what is that gonna look like? Given the information we just got from the superintendent about not being able to use those e-learning days.
So we're limited to 5 e-learning days.
That's correct.
Does that roll over in January at all?
Yes.
So we get 5 new ones?
No.
That's a school year.
That's a
For the school year, that's 5 e-learning days for the school year.
Right. And this past year, that's how we were able to continue learning, during the few snow days that we did get.
There was no.
Yeah, it was one.
That's your fault.
It was one. It was one, and we used the snow day.
It just didn't snow.
And then that was, right, that's right, we were anticipating it.
Anticipated, but it didn't.
So I would like, just to encourage you to strongly consider that during your deliberations.
Thank you. Does anybody have any discussion? Do we want to revisit this?
I think we could possibly, even at a special meeting, come up with some options at least to discuss and see which one fits, but I would recommend that you work with the administration to see if any of those are feasible before bringing them to the board and the public. Because if they're not gonna work, it doesn't matter what we wanna do. We have to make sure that the administration can plan for that and it meets the numbers and everything else and anticipate snow days and any other days we may have. Sounds good, I would love to do it, but we need more administrative feedback.
Madam President?
Yes.
Mayor, at our next school board meeting, can we come up with a revised calendar?
Sure.
I would hope you would have it before the meeting.
All right, so there is a motion on the floor, however.
So someone can make a motion to table as a superseding motion, so there's a motion to table.
All right, then I'll make a motion to table.
So, second?
We vote on the table.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson? Aye. Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson? Aye. Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Sam Bucceris is absent. Ms. Barbahan, aye. Motion carried to table.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve number 23, hire new law firm?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion. There's some methods to what we do as a school board, and when I looked at this, it just screamed wrong. It appears, Ms. Grant, that you, on your own, have consulted a law firm, met with them, and placed on our agenda an item for us. Who are these people? I would have even been more accepting if it was an information item. Now, let's be clear, we bring up things about transparency. You don't have the authority to negotiate a contract for this board by yourself, ma'am, and that's what you've done. That is a violation of your office. I can't go out here and make an agreement and say that I'm going to hire you for this district without consulting this board. That is, you should. If it were one of the new board members, I would understand. But this is not right. You can't have the, and then when we talk about bids, when we talk about where are the other law firms that we could possibly choose? You're choosing the law firm for the district now and telling this board that this is what we have to vote on. I don't even know who these people are.
Bill, would you like to weigh in with policy, please?
Sure, so, you have a policy on selecting the board attorney. The policy in and of itself doesn't give you a procedure to do it. You guys have a board policy exhibit to 160E1 that gives you a process. But the process itself says that you may use the checklist for guidance. So to me, that doesn't, you don't have to go through an RFP process in order to hire lawyers or change lawyers. The board can do it however it sees fit under the policy.
The board can do it.
Yes, sir.
Well,
that's why it's for a vote, because the board's voting.
No. This has been negotiated. This is dated June 1st. This is not the board acting, this is Ms. Grant acting. I would understand if it was an information item. This is not the board acting. This is Ms. Grant acting on behalf of the board.
Thank you.
This is illegal.
It's clearly not legal.
It is. You can't negotiate contracts.
I didn't negotiate a contract.
Okay, so in here, if you talk about money, I am pleased that you and the Board of Education have opted to retain Forensic PC. That's a false statement. This board has not opted to do that.
No, we will vote on it. It is a voting item.
That's not what this letter says. Now, we need to be clear on what we're voting on.
It's not signed.
There are other, it is a lie. We've got to opt to do that.
It's not signed. I have not entered us in any contract.
Listen, you have
The
negotiated.
board
You have negotiated.
votes. The board votes.
I got you. You have negotiated. I am pleased that you and the Board of Education have opted to retain Forensic PC to represent and advise the district in connection with all school matters. Did any other board members, were any of you aware that we had agreed to do this and we were pleased to?
Yes,
You knew?
I was aware.
Okay, you were aware? Were you aware, Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
You were aware. Ms. Hickson, were you aware?
Yes, I was.
Okay, great. So now you violated the Open Meetings Act.
I haven't.
Okay, go ahead.
I haven't.
Yeah, you have. You've talked to 4 board members and not the other 2. I wasn't aware.
The key would be, when did I talk to them? And it was
No.
before they ever became board members.
That's even worse, but.
No, it's not, because we did it when we were elected the first time. There's that period after you're elected and before you were sworn in, The Open Meetings Act does not apply because they have not been sworn in.
Miss-
If you think that we did not hit the ground running to change this district for the better, you are gravely mistaken.
Okay, you're gravely mistaken to insinuate that our legal counsel needs to be replaced. Okay? So I understand, but listen, you guys have not had any training, you haven't got this book. You're going down a slippery slope this way, and that's fine. I'll go as far as I can with you. I'm just here for the benefit of the board and the district. I don't have a problem with what you do with your 4 votes. Just make sure we do it right and it's above board and it's ethical. There's not any reason that any one board member should be having these discussions and the other 7 board members don't know. Before the election, if that was your intention afterward, we should have been made aware afterwards then before it got to the board packet as an action item.
This is one of hundreds of items that has been placed before this board in many, many years that is brought to us just as an action item before information.
It's bought
And
by the
that's
whole
one of the
board.
things
And it's not bought by the board
that we've been
president.
trying to change.
It's not bought by the board president.
We're moving forward. Eyes on the prize, call the roll.
I have a discussion. So, my concern is you went with this firm because of what was your reasoning for, listen, you've been here since about 8 years? Even before we got on board.
November 2015.
Okay, since 2015. And all I've known you to do is be fair. Firm. I could call you, Amanda could call you, Mrs. Kelly, all of us could call you and you would answer, and you just stayed right there neutral. And I'm just trying to understand why are we moving to another attorney?
This isn't just place, but if I may, we saw just how much, we ran an hour over closed session, and we didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg of the work that we have to do. We are not replacing.
So you guys got a lot of work to do that I've sat here for 6 years, and I don't know, are you, you say we got a lot of work to do.
I don't see him doing
But I want to focus on Bill Gleason.
Yeah.
I want to focus on Bill Gleason.
This isn't a referendum on Bill Gleason.
It is.
We're not.
My question to you, Amanda, so now are we going to have 2 attorneys of record?
We can, yes. We can have as many law firms as we want.
You could probably have 50,
Lots of
but my
records
question
available.
is, so what exactly will Mr. Gleason be doing versus what these people will be doing?
Mr. Gleason's going to continue to do what he's doing. He has, as we heard in closed session, a mountain of grievances and arbitrations that we have to sort through.
So
this firm specializes in a lot of things, as do many law firms, but we have issues in terms of special education. We have terms or issues in all areas that we will need assistance with moving forward. Bill is one person. He's one person and he's one firm. We believe we will need the assistance of more.
Oh, because I just heard you say how many millions of dollars that we've spent in attorney fees. So now we're going to have 2 attorneys. Bill is going to be handling.
And I've also been very clear in closed session, and I'll repeat it now, that we wouldn't have a lot of these problems if we had followed progressive discipline and we had followed the collective bargaining agreement where grievances are brought before the board.
Thank you for that. My question again is why are we moving away from Bill Gleason's?
Bill Gleason is right where he is, and that's where he's going to be.
Okay, so we're going to have 2 attorneys, and so I want to talk to, I don't have to call them, I can ask Bill the question and you can, do you understand what I'm saying? We got, you'll be calling them, we'll be calling Bill, I'm just trying to understand what are we doing here?
It's not.
Bill, what is your, because you were on a retainer, right, for the FOP, and so now that they're gone, what do you charge, about $250, $225 per hour?
That's for the rate outside of the retainer, 250.
Okay, and they're going to charge $315 per hour, right? No?
With no retainer.
Right, and the only reason we had to have a retainer then is because the FOP stated that that was the case. I think this is absolutely wrong. I agree with Rodney not one board member, but you just told us all four of you already had decided this and had conversation about it, which again would be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. If we're going to deal with transparency, because that's what you said, you believe in transparency, we have to stop these Gestapo tactics. And so,
Misuse of the word Gestapo.
we have to stop that, Ms. Grant. We are here to work with you, but you pretty much have said, I'm going to refuse to work with you guys. Just like you were elected, and the other three people have been elected by the people, so have we. And to just go out and, I think this is a great firm, to just pick up a firm and say, hey, you know, Bill Gleason can't do the job or haven't done the job. I mean, because I can't see why you would be getting an attorney. Have you handled special ed in the past, Mr. Gleason?
I have, and I have colleagues in my office that they focus their practice there.
Okay, and so you handle special education. You handle pretty much your firm is a school law attorney. Is that correct? The firm?
We handle all facets of representation.
All facets. Again, for the public, keep your eyes open. You said this is what you wanted. You got new board members. Just stay woke. I have seen the pendulum swing. They got the gee and the he right now. I can guarantee you by November, December, you'll see the pendulum swing. I have followed this Board of Education for years. I've seen it when it's just like this. Everybody's happy and is excited. Just like when Rodney, myself, Amanda, and Sam, when we ran together, we were gung-ho and ready to go. But you never had any of us go and put contracts together and make promises. Bill, let me say to you, you have done an exceptional job. And if they think they can just throw you some crumbs, you've handled special ed in the past. You've handled human resource matters in the past. You have done everything that this Board of Education has asked you to do. Ms.
Patterson.
I just want to commend you for your service, because it's just a matter of time and days before you'll be out of here. You don't bring a firm this large and say we're going to still use you. We'll use you until you get through with whatever 6 or 7 cases that are pending. But this is wrong on every level. You don't deserve this because you have worked hard for this district, very hard.
This is not a referendum.
Very hard, you have worked.
At all, on Mr. Gleason.
And they think that they're going to hold you and make you feel good. It's not right.
Would it be better to
She already told you. She had been working on this before the election. So you already know that you were on your way out.
Ms. Barbahan, call the roll.
That's
Mr. Alexander?
Bill.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Abstain.
Ms. Grant? Aye.
I'm sorry, Bill.
Absent.
Did they give you like
Aye.
this?
Motion carried.
She'll read what you saw. She flying high right now. She's flying real high. No. She's flying high now.
No, you're done. You're done, Ms.
She'll
Patterson. You're
come
done.
down.
You're done.
She'll come down.
You're
Don't
done.
tell me when I'm done.
You are, I am. You are.
I'm not done.
You are.
Anyway, Bill, like I said, she will come down.
This is no different than any other action item that has been brought before us.
Talking if you wanted to.
This is.
You can't.
Yeah.
You would love to, but you can't.
And you can run your
wrong.
but again,
What you did is wrong.
Again.
You weren't transparent.
Again.
You speak of transparency all the time.
Forward.
You the transparency queen, and then you went and sneaked around and got a
another attorney firm without the firm talking with the entire board. You were out of order for doing that. You were wrong for that. I'm sorry.
It is
You the
public
transparency
vote.
queen, though.
It's a
You're the
public
queen
vote.
that's preach of
It is a
transparency,
public
but yet
vote.
still you go
Public
and snake
vote.
around and
You're
get-
done.
You snaked
You're
around.
done.
You snaked around.
Madam President,
You
point of
treated
order.
that
You're
That's
done.
all I'm saying.
Item, approval of PLCCA partnership to hire D209 students for summer 23. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, discussion.
She's full of it.
Hearing any? Hearing none?
None.
What is the motion?
All right, please call the roll.
Approval of the PLCCA partnership.
Thank you.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Beltier is absent. Ms. Barbahan, aye. Motion carried.
Next item is compensation for administrators and special payroll employees. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Discussion.
Oh,
Second.
yes, discussion?
So it says here, employees who were newly hired less than 120 days are excluded. Is there, it'd be helpful for me to see when they started, to see, you know, I like to calculate in contact.
I actually asked for that last month, for that to be on the list, their hire date, or on their action, their hire date on here.
Because, question about when Ms. Stowers, when she joined the organization, do you know when?
I just know it's 120 days. I cannot remember the exact date. We looked into that before.
Okay.
Matter of fact, that list was generated by Ms. Tiffany Jenkins prior to her departure. So we looked into, we made sure those individuals had worked at least 120 days.
Any other discussion?
One last thing, it'd be helpful to see the percent increase if they got.
2%.
It says here, it's either 0.5% or 2%, right? Oh, it's 2% across the board?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
When are the evaluations held for all of these employees?
Usually around February, March.
So anybody here under a year has not been evaluated for their first year?
That would be about correct, but they will be by the end of this month.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
I have a question. Oh, sorry, for clarification. I really feel that employees should be evaluated before they're given a pay increase. Is it possible to pull anyone that's under a year out?
It's possible.
The fact is, they're gonna get the 2%. You're gonna get it, right away. And there's no one that's planning not to, renew it. Or bring back at this point. Okay.
All right, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Nay.
Mr. Ocampo?
Nay.
Ms. Patterson? Aye. Ms. Grant?
Nay.
Mr. Beltier is absent. Ms. Barbahan, nay. Motion failed.
Can I get a motion to approve the personnel report?
So moved.
Second. All right, any discussion? And any polls?
What are we on?
Personnel.
Personnel report.
I would like to pull section 5, item 4.
Okay?
Is there a second to that?
No. No. We need to amend the motion.
David needs to. David, you need to amend the motion to approve the personnel report minus section 5, number 4.
Can I get a motion to amend the personnel report to exclude section 5, number 4?
So moved. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Discussion. We're going down a slippery slope when we start affording non-professional educators specifically to dictate who gets hired, specifically the board president rehired for people that were voted on, some of them, not all, for either termination or they resigned or non-renewed, to return back to the district. One thing for sure, Dr. Henderson, you would not be responsible for these people.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Motion to approve the list minus the one that was pulled.
Correct.
Find my list. Come back to me.
Here you go.
Mrs. Hickson? Aye. Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
No.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Sam? Mr. Feltier is absent. Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Mr. Alexander?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Can I get a motion to approve personnel report item 5, number 4? Someone's got to approve it so we can discuss.
To approve for the removal?
But now we vote on that person separately. Yes. Or we can make a motion to table, I guess?
Okay, so moved.
If we wanted to?
The motion, he seconded the motion, but if someone wants to make a motion to table, you can do that, otherwise you can vote it up and down right now. You have a motion and a second from Mr. Alexander.
Okay, did anyone want to pull?
It's pulled for a separate vote.
Oh, sorry, table, I'm sorry, wrong word. Okay, any discussion?
Just for this, just for the one person, number 4? So we're voting on number 4?
Correct. Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Nay.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Valtieri is absent. Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Motion carries.
Can I please get a motion to approve the recommendation of notice to remedy for certified staff member?
Amanda, he wants to.
Did we hire or not hire?
You did.
We did?
No, we didn't hire.
We did not.
We did not.
Number 4.
You just hired him.
You just hired him.
They just hired him.
Oh, no, my answer is no.
That's
Absolutely
fine.
not. I changed my vote.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, what we just do?
I thought it was not hire him.
No, they hired.
No, because we pulled it, so that would be a separate vote, so you have to vote yes or no.
Right.
So can we do this again because of the level of confusion, or is it?
Had you called the motion pass or fail? If you hadn't, then you can ask.
That has not been called, okay.
So she could change her vote if it hasn't been called.
Okay, so the motion is, this person was pulled, yes to hire, no to not hire.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
so can we just go up and down again?
Yes.
Okay.
So Mr. Alexander?
Nay.
Mrs. Hickson?
Nay.
Mr. Ocampo?
Nay.
Ms. Patterson?
Nay.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Valtieri is still absent. Ms. Barbahan, nay.
Okay.
Motion failed.
Okay. All right, now we are on number 27. This is the recommendation of notice to remedy for certified staff member. Can I get a motion?
Can you get a motion to approve the resolution title with the person's name?
I don't have it in front of me. Which, yeah,
Hold on, Amanda. My answer is no for any of those people that, you're recommending to rehire. So if you got that, right?
You voted no on the first.
I don't want
first.
Right,
you
okay.
voted no.
No problem.
It's correct.
No, this is a different one. Thank you.
27?
Yes, thank you, this is what I'm looking for, thank you. Okay, so I'm reading this entire thing.
No, you're just reading the title.
Okay, thank you. The Board of Education of the Proviso Township High School District 209 resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice to remedy for Mr. Williams.
What's the name?
Mr. Brian Williams.
Got it.
Thank you. Right, thank you. Can I get a motion to approve that recommendation for notice to remedy?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander.
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson. Aye. Mr. Ocampo.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Ms. Grant.
Aye.
Sam Butler is absent. Ms. Barbahan, aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Judge Henderson, I'm just putting this right here.
Okay, no problem.
Can I please get a motion? Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're on information. Is this, you had discussed this, Dr. Williams? This information item, the SAVIS supplemental math resources for Proviso West High School? You did, okay. Did anyone have any questions? Okay, the next item, Valley Business Machines. These are the online calculators and the software to go with it. This was another information item that Dr. Williams went over. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
The software is something that the students install on their machines, or does it come already installed on? Because it says emulator software. It's either browser-based or installed on the machine.
Yes, Mr. Swanson will help the students install it on their laptop. The teacher's software is different because it's the teacher's edition, but all of that is downloaded onto their computers, onto their devices.
Okay, so they don't need a browser they don't need internet connection to make it work.
That's too technical for me to answer right off the cuff. I'll have to investigate that. I don't recall how that software was downloaded.
Okay.
I don't think it's browser-based, but I'll have to do some research on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll vote on this in July and you'll have that for us? Thank you. The next information item, the College Board Suite of Assessments. Did anyone have any questions about that? Okay, hearing none. The next one would be the renewal of Lexia Core 5 Power Up and Lexia English for the upcoming school year. This was another information item from Dr. Williams. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, hearing none. We've got the Facilities Master Plan Phase 2, Sequence 2 Implementation Consultant that Mr. Taylor discussed. Any questions? Hearing none. Moving right along, let's go to the personnel count information item. Does anyone have any questions about this? Hearing none. Ms. Barbahan, can you please read the FOIA report?
In June 2023, Proviso Township High School District 209 received the following FOIA requests. June 8, 2023, Jennifer Labash requested a myriad of financial documents. Information will be provided. That's all I have there, but I know we have a backlog, Dr. Henderson, and some that have not been provided information yet. Is there an update on that? Or?
We're working on
Ms. Barbahan, I notified Mr. Swanson, my emails, FOIAs have not been going through. I notified Mr. Swanson that he could check into the unblocking of email addresses. So hopefully that'll be something that'll be updated. I'm sorry.
Is that happening, like blocking of emails coming in?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Can you just check like the filter or something? Thank you. Okay, treasurer's report, already covered that. Old business.
I have old business. I would like to take this time to thank Dr. Diana Thomas, who is director coordinator of the night school program. I, along with a couple of other board members, attended the end of the year event for her students, her seniors. Very nice, and she has done a tremendous job. And then just to see those students graduate on Saturday was just amazing.
Thank you. Any other old business?
Yes, I have a question to either Dr. Henderson or Mr. Moody. June 2nd, we gave the Oakbrook Hilton $14,400, the taxpayers' money. Could you tell me what happened and why we had to pay $14,400?
Yes. So actually we had planned to give our teachers a celebration there at that hotel. Then we polled the teachers and only 49 employees responded saying they would come. So we canceled it. And then I talked to the manager and we have decided to just host another event there. So we have not lost those funds. As a matter of fact, we do have a communication that states just that. And I'll get that to you tomorrow.
Yes, please, because the one that I have says that we lost $14,000.
Yes,
so
you have.
You can give me
You have
the current one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's the same contract. We just have a letter stating that they gave us credit for those dollars.
How long do we have to use that credit? Like
Up to a year, 2 years. But we're going to use it in September.
Okay, so I have another question. Could you tell me when the teachers or the staff was notified of said party? Because the contract was signed in February.
Yes, the contract was signed in February, so I'm sure we probably sent it out 3 weeks to a month.
So they did receive a save the date?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's still on the website.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
All right.
Any other old business?
I don't know if this is new or old. I would like to thank the Teachers Administration for another successful school year. And every year for the last 4, I get some calls from some teachers, and I get these calls year round, but they give me things and send things to me that they use in their classroom. So you know who you are for political reasons. I'm not going to say your name. But for the way that you manage your classrooms and inviting me in there to see the materials that you send home. But I got a special one this year, and this particular teacher wrote hand letters to each of her students. And it's one thing to send a text, it's one thing to send an email. But we talk about teacher engagement and teachers being concerned. And I'm surrounded constantly by a group of teachers that really care and really go the extra mile and get the emails and texts. And I said I would mention them tonight. And they wanted me, they didn't care about me mentioning their names, but I'm not going to. But this one really touched my heart. Because this teacher took the time to write 30 of these out to each of her individual students and express to them how wonderful they were in the classroom and how great of a year it was. That's the standard. And I want to thank all of those teachers, the majority of you that go the extra mile, that do these things that we don't see, that we don't get to hear about, because I know there's more of this than the latter in this district. So I want to thank you. Man, I want to say your name, and I know you begged me to, but you don't want that smoke coming from me. But just know that I appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for your support and those teachers that support.
Thank you. Any other old business? New business? As we had mentioned earlier, I will be talking with Dr. Henderson tomorrow to come up with some kind of solution. That will be a special meeting. We will get that information to all board members and post it publicly as necessary. And then I would need to also call a special meeting. I wish there was some way to combine these two. But we had talked about evaluating our superintendent. I would like to do that by next Tuesday. So, I mean, that is a lot. That's a heavy lift, and I do appreciate those of us, anyone who can make it. But we will definitely be in contact. So plan on next Tuesday for sure for the evaluation. Any other new business?
Yes, I would like to have, we're gonna meet on the 27th, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, I would like to invite the state to that board meeting to have a conversation. So if we could put that on the agenda, it would be much appreciated.
Okay. That also is the meeting we had discussed, dedicating it almost entirely to closed session to deal with the backlog of arbitrations and grievances that Mr. Gleason has been trying to work through. So I guess it'll be an informative meeting all around. Any other new business?
On the agenda.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Hey.
Mr. Swanson, Adobe's not working. I need computer help. I can't open some of the pieces.
again.
Oh, yes.